100 men, one polar bear. No weapons, no escape, just concrete walls and locked doors. It sounds like the bear doesn't stand a chance, 100 against 1. But here's the problem. A polar bear's paw strike can shatter bone, its bite crushes through skull, and it's staring at a room full of panicked, uncoordinated humans who've never fought anything deadlier than traffic. Who actually wins? Here's the scenario. A warehouse, 50 feet by 50 feet. Concrete floor, metal walls, one steel door that locks behind the bear. No windows, no weapons, no furniture to hide behind or use as tools, just empty space. The 100 men are average adults, mixed ages, average fitness. Some have been in bar fights, most haven't. They're wearing regular clothes, jeans, shirts, sneakers. No time to strategize before this starts. The bear enters, the door seals, and chaos begins immediately. The polar bear is a full-grown male, 1,200 pounds, 9 feet tall on hind legs, well-fed, healthy, and now trapped with what it perceives as threats. It's not trying to escape, it's defending itself with lethal force. The rules are simple. This ends when one side can no longer fight. The bear can't leave, the men can't leave. Survival requires eliminating the threat. No referee, no timeouts, just biology, panic, and violence in an enclosed space. This is the fight. The polar bear is the largest land carnivore on the planet. This male weighs 1,200 pounds, more than 6 average men combined. Standing on hind legs, it reaches 9 feet tall. On all fours, it's still chest height to most humans. Its weapons are brutally simple. The front paws span 12 inches across, backed by forearms thick with muscle. Each paw has 5 claws, 2 inches long, curved like meat hooks. These aren't defensive tools. They're designed to grip struggling seals and punch through ice 3 feet thick. One swipe carries roughly 400 pounds of force. That's enough to break ribs, collapse a windpipe, or tear open arteries. The bite is catastrophic. The jaw generates 1,200 psi of pressure and opens wide enough to engulf a human head. The canine teeth are 2 inches long, built to pierce blubber and crush vertebrae. When a polar bear bites down on flesh, bones don't resist, they splinter. This bear can sprint at 25 miles per hour in short bursts. That's faster than any human in this room. Its reaction time is adapted for catching seals, prey that can twist and dive in fractions of a second. Stamina matters here. Polar bears hunt by persistence. They can swim 50 miles through Arctic water. They fight walruses that weigh 3,000 pounds. Exhaustion isn't a factor for the first 10, maybe 15 minutes of combat. Polar bears fight other polar bears during mating season. They sustain deep lacerations and keep attacking. Surface wounds, scratches, bruises, even shallow cuts won't slow this animal down. One final factor. Polar bears are the only bear species that actively hunts humans. Grizzlies can be scared off. Black bears usually retreat. Polar bears see large prey and think food. There's no intimidation factor here, just predatory instinct and the willingness to kill everything in this room. This is what 100 men are facing. 100 men sounds overwhelming. It's not. The average man here weighs 200 pounds. He can punch with about 150 pounds of force, enough to hurt another human, barely a nuisance to a bear with a skull built to withstand impacts from other bears. A hard kick might deliver 300 pounds of force, still not enough to break bones through dense fur, thick skin, and muscle. Individual strength doesn't scale. If one man can't hurt the bear, 10 men throwing simultaneous punches still can't. They just get in each other's way. The real killer is coordination. These men have no plan, no leader, no training. When the bear charges, instinct takes over. Half will freeze. A quarter will stampede toward the walls. The rest might attack, but they're not attacking together. They're individuals reacting to terror. Crowds create fatal problems. In a 2,500 square foot space, 100 bodies means each person has 25 square feet. That's a 5 by 5 area. When people move, they collide. When someone falls, he trips others. When the bear swipes through a cluster, bodies don't just get injured. They become obstacles that block escape routes and trap others in striking range. Panic spreads faster than strategy. The first scream triggers flight response in dozens. The first visible injury, blood, a man clutching a torn throat, breaks whatever courage existed. Suddenly, it's not "we fight together," it's "I need to survive." Men shove each other aside. They create human shields without meaning to. The coordination advantage of numbers evaporates. Physical limitations matter. Most men have never grappled anything stronger than them. They don't know how to target vulnerable areas under stress. They'll punch the bear's body, the most protected area, instead of eyes or nose. They'll grab fur instead of controlling limbs. Amateur fighting instincts are worse than useless against an animal that outweighs them 6-1. Exhaustion hits humans first. Adrenaline lasts minutes, then the crash comes. Arms get heavy, legs shake. Meanwhile, the bear is built for extended combat. 100 men aren't an army. They're 100 separate people who happen to be dying in the same room. Initial impact, 0 to 15 seconds. The bear charges immediately. At 25 miles per hour, it closes distance before most men react. First strikes are devastating. Paw swipes generate enough force to break ribs and collapse lungs. A direct hit to the head causes severe trauma or instant death. The crowd splits. Roughly 20% flee to walls, 30% freeze, 50% attempt engagement. This fragmentation is fatal. Scattered individuals can't coordinate attacks or protect each other. The coordination collapse. 15 to 30 seconds. Men attacking separately get picked off. The bear targets whoever's closest. Swipe, bite, move to next threat. Each attack takes 2 to 3 seconds and removes a person from the fight. Attempts to grab or tackle fail because the weight difference is too extreme. A 200-pound man can't control a 1,200-pound animal. The bear drags attackers or throws them off with simple momentum. The stampede problem intensifies. Men pile up at walls. Fallen bodies create trip hazards. The effective fighting force shrinks as people become obstacles. Damage assessment, 30 to 60 seconds. Realistic casualties in the first minute, 6 to 10 deaths, 15 to 20 severe injuries, broken bones, deep lacerations, crushed limbs. These numbers come from the bear's strike frequency and lethality per hit. The bear sustains minor damage, scratches, possibly bruised areas from lucky strikes. Nothing affecting its capability. Critical problem: the men who are still willing to fight now understand what they're facing. Fear compounds. Aggressive action decreases even as numbers remain high. The math becomes clear. The bear is eliminating threats faster than the men can organize effective responses. The exhaustion theory. The only viable path to victory: exhaust the bear through sustained engagement. Polar bears can fight intensely for 10 to 15 minutes before fatigue sets in. The men need to survive that window while maintaining offensive pressure. The problem: human exhaustion hits faster. Adrenaline dumps last 3 to 5 minutes, then crash. Arms get heavy, legs shake, decision-making deteriorates. The bear's stamina outlasts individual human capability. What coordinated strategy would require? Effective tactics need multiple elements working simultaneously. Distraction teams rotating to prevent bear from focusing. Grappling teams controlling limbs, requires 8 to 10 men per limb. Strike teams targeting eyes, nose, throat during holds, and continuous fresh fighter rotation as people tire. This requires leadership, discipline, and training. None exist in this scenario. Spontaneous coordination under extreme stress doesn't happen with 100 panicked people. The swarm math. In theory, if 30 to 40 men attacked simultaneously and maintained holds, they could immobilize the bear through combined weight. Reality: getting 30 men to coordinate timing while the bear is actively mauling people is functionally impossible. Each person the bear injures removes 2 to 3 others from fighting, those helping the wounded or psychologically broken by witnessing trauma up close. Best case scenario. If a small group, 10 to 15 men, naturally clusters and fights cohesively while others provide distraction, they might immobilize the bear after 8 to 10 minutes of sustained combat. Cost: 30 to 40 casualties minimum. The survivors would need to maintain chokeholds or crush vital areas. difficult when exhausted and injured. Actual probability. Without pre-existing coordination, the chaos continues until either 1. The bear kills enough men that the remainder surrender psychologically, or 2. 60+ casualties later, the survivors recognize organized attack as the only option, but by then, too few remain with combat capability. The numbers advantage exists in theory. In practice, panic and poor coordination wasted. Final verdict. The bear wins. The deciding factors are speed of lethality versus speed of organization. The bear kills or incapacitates 8 to 12 men per minute in the opening phase. The humans need 5 to 10 minutes to organize effective resistance, if they can organize at all. By the time survivors recognize that coordinated swarming is their only option, casualties have broken group morale. 40 dead or incapacitated men means 60 remain, but many are injured, exhausted, or psychologically shattered. The effective fighting force is maybe 30. 30 coordinated fighters with a plan could win. 30 panicked survivors trying to spontaneously organize while the bear continues its assault cannot. The critical mistake in human thinking: we assume numbers equal advantage, but advantages require deployment. 100 men in chaos are worth less than 10 with a plan. The bear doesn't need strategy, it just needs to keep doing what predators do. The humans need to overcome instinct, coordinate under duress, and execute complex tactics while watching friends die. Biology wins this fight. The bear is designed for exactly this, applying overwhelming force to multiple threats until they stop moving. Final count. Realistic outcome: 60 to 75 human casualties before the remainder either die or stop fighting. The bear sustains injuries, but nothing fatal. It doesn't need to kill all 100, just enough that resistance collapses. One apex predator versus 100 uncoordinated humans isn't a fight. It's a massacre with a predetermined outcome. So what do you think? Did we get this right, or could the humans pull it off? Drop your analysis in the comments. And here's the real question: what's the next matchup? Tell me what fight you want broken down next. If this got you thinking, hit subscribe. We're just getting started with these impossible scenarios. See you in the next one.